What if I told you the single most important factor in unlocking free flights, luxury hotels, and those jaw dropping sign up bonuses has nothing to do with points at all? It's not the card you choose, it's not the program you chase, it's not even how much you spend. It's your credit score, that quiet little number in the background that decides whether you get approved, denied, or handed a tiny limit that won't take you anywhere. And here's the twist. Most people misunderstand how credit works. They're scared to open new cards, they think carrying a balance helps, or they assume they need perfect credit to get started. None of that is true. Today, we're cutting through the noise, and I'm going to show you exactly how your credit score works, how to protect it, how to improve it, and how to make it your most powerful travel companion. Hey everybody, welcome back to The Points Rookie. My name's Lane, and today we are diving into a topic that may not sound too thrilling to you, but trust me, it is essential if you want to succeed in the points and miles world. We're talking about, you got it, your credit score. If you want those big travel rewards cards with strong sign-up bonuses, premium perks, and flexible points, you need a strong credit foundation. And the good news is, you don't need perfection. You just need to understand the rules of the game. By the end of this episode, you're going to know what drives your score, how do you protect it, how do you improve it, and how it directly affects your ability to earn and redeem travel rewards. Let's make your credit score your best travel companion. But before we get into the main topic, I'd love to introduce you to a recurring segment, or possibly a recurring segment called What's in Other People's Wallets? When I notice the cards friends, family, or even strangers use, I'll share what I saw and why that card might make a difference for them. It's a fun way to learn from real life. So, here we go. What's in other people's wallets? Over the holidays, I was in Mississippi, and we made that classic family run to Costco. Just so you are aware, Costco only accepts Visa card in store and not MasterCard. So we were checking out, and my brother pulls out a Chase Freedom Unlimited card. Yes, he's not in the points and miles world. Well, at least not quite yet. I'm working on him. For him, it's simple. That Chase Freedom Unlimited has no annual fee. It's a cashback card. You get 5% back on travel through the Chase portal, 3% on drugstores and dining, and 1.5% on everything else. Since his usual card is a Discover card, and that isn't accepted at Costco, he uses the Freedom Unlimited for that flat 1.5 back, and it keeps it simple. And that's the point of this segment. Real people, real cards, and real strategies. Okay, here we go. If you want to play the points game, your credit score is the gatekeeper. To qualify for top-tier travel cards, you typically want to score in the 700s, and 740 or more gives you the best odds and the best terms. So you're probably asking yourself, what are the 5 core drivers of my credit score? I'm so glad that you asked. Number 1 is payment history. That's about 35% of your credit score. That's the big one. This is the single most important factor in your credit score. Lenders want to know one thing above all else. Do you pay your bills on time? Even one 30-day late payment can drop your score significantly, especially if your credit history is short. The impact of late payments does fade over time, but they can stay on your report for up to 7 years. Paying at least the minimum avoids a late mark, but paying the full statement balance really is what you want to do, as it avoids interest and keeps your utilization low. Autopay is your best friend. You can set it and forget it. So a beginner takeaway is, if you do nothing else, pay on time. This one habit carries the most weight. Factor number 2 are the amounts owed and your credit utilization. This accounts for about 30% of your credit score. It's your credit breathing room, so to speak. Utilization is the percentage of your available credit that you're using. So if you have a $10,000 limit and you're carrying a $2,000 balance, your utilization is at 20%. Why does this matter? Well, high utilization signals risk. It lets lenders worry whether you're stretched too thin or not. Low utilization signals control. You're using your credit responsibly. Even if you pay in full every month, your reported balance, the balance on the day that your issuer reports to the bureau, affects your score. Those general guidelines are under 30% is good, under 10% is excellent, and under 5% is elite. So the beginner takeaway is your score can jump quickly just by lowering your reported balances. Factor number 3 is the length of your credit history. And this is about 15% of your credit score. This factor looks at the age of your oldest account, the age of your newest account, and the average age of all your accounts. Why does this matter? Well, older accounts show long-term responsibility. New accounts lower your average age temporarily, but closing old accounts can shorten your history and hurt your score. This is why many people keep no annual fee cards open forever, because it helps the age of their credit. The beginner takeaway is time is your friend. Keep older accounts open whenever possible. Factor number 4 is new credit. This is about 10%. Hard inquiries plus new accounts. Every time you apply for a new credit card, the lender performs a hard inquiry. This can temporarily lower your score by a few points. What this factor looks at is how many new accounts you've already opened and how recently you've opened them. How many hard inquiries have you had? And how quickly you're applying for credit. Why does this matter? Lots of inquiries in a short period can signal financial stress, but 1 or 2 spaced out applications is totally normal. The impact of a hard inquiry fades within a year. The takeaway here is be intentional with applications, but don't fear them. They're a normal part of the points game. And then the 5th factor is your credit mix, which accounts for about 10%. Variety helps. Credit scoring models like to see that you can handle different types of credit responsibly. The 2 main categories are revolving credit, so credit cards and lines of credit, and installment loans, so auto loans, student loans, mortgages, and personal loans. You don't need to take out loans just to improve your mix. That's not worth it. But if you naturally have a blend, it can give your score a small boost. So the beginner takeaway here is this factor does matter, but it's not worth chasing. Let your mix develop naturally. So the 2 biggest levers that you have are on-time payments and low utilization. Master those, and your score will trend up. All right, friends, quick mid-episode break, proudly brought to you by absolutely no one. That's right. This show is currently powered by caffeine, enthusiasm, and the hope that one day a sponsor will appear like a surprise American Express offer. Brands, if you're listening, this is your moment. Step into the light. I'm ready. And for everyone else, if you're enjoying the show, hit subscribe or share it with a friend. And if you want to fuel the caffeine part of this operation, you can buy me a coffee. Totally optional, always appreciated. Links in the show notes. All right, back to it. Let's talk about keeping your credit healthy, and that's about monitoring. I would suggest looking at Experian, Credit Karma, or your bank's app. And once a year, you can look at annualcreditreport.com for full reports from the three major credit bureaus. These are all soft pulls, and it will not impact your score. There are other ways that you can protect your credit score. I would consider credit freezes. You can turn on alerts. So if there is a new account opened up under your name or large balance changes or address changes, you'll get alerts. I would suggest that you review statements monthly. And as a reminder, when you freeze your credit, remember to lift the freezes temporarily when you apply for new credit cards, mortgages, auto loans. These are simple steps, but offer big protection. After you go to Experian or Credit Karma or your bank's app and you see what your score is, what do you do if it's lower than you'd like? Here's a few quick wins that you can do. Set up auto pay for your full statement balance if you can. Keep your credit card utilization under 30%. Ideally, you'd love to be under 10%. Request credit limit increases. Pay your bill mid-cycle. Keep older accounts open and space out new applications. I believe you should apply for a card about every 90 days and not any sooner. I know there's others that say quicker than that. We're just talking about some good practices here. These are all small habits that equal big improvements. All right. I love to bust myths, specifically in the points and miles space. So let's do that right now. We're going to go a little bit deeper on the misconceptions. Myth number 1, opening new credit cards will destroy my score. This is the number 1 myth and the number 1 question that I get when I let people know that I've started this game. A single hard inquiry usually lowers your score by only 3 to 7 points, and that small dip fades within about a year. What actually matters more is what happens after you open the card. When you're approved, your total available credit increases, and that can lower your utilization, which is a much larger percent of the credit score. Most people see their score bounce back quickly, and in many cases, it ends up higher than before because their utilization improves. That's exactly what happened in my case. The only time inquiries become a problem is when you apply for several cards in a very short window. But spaced out, intentional applications, totally normal, and you very well may see an increase. Myth number 2, carrying a balance helps my credit. The reality is there is zero scoring benefit to carrying a credit card balance. Credit scoring models don't reward interest payments. They reward low utilization and on-time payments. Carrying a balance only helps one group, and that's the bank that's collecting your interest. And with the average APR over 22% on accounts that carry interest, that's a huge cost for absolutely no credit benefit. The best move? Pay your statement balance in full every month. Okay, myth number 3. Closing old cards improves my score. The reality is, closing a card can actually hurt your score in 2 ways. It reduces your total available credit, which can spike your utilization overnight. It shortens your credit history, especially if the card you close is one of your oldest accounts. Even if you don't use a card often, keeping it open, as long as it doesn't have a high annual fee that you don't want to pay, that helps secure your score by maintaining your credit age and keeping your utilization low. Myth number 4. You need perfect credit to get travel cards. Perfect credit is not required. Many solid travel cards approve applicants in the high 600s. Higher scores, 740 plus, simply get you better approval odds, higher limits, and better terms. But you can absolutely start your travel journey without an 800 score. Myth number 5. Checking my own score will lower my credit score. The reality is, checking your own score is a soft inquiry, and soft inquiries have no impact on your credit score. In fact, regularly checking your score is one of the best habits you can build. It helps you catch errors early, spot fraud, and track your progress. Myth number 6. All credit scores are the same. The reality is there are multiple scoring models, and they don't all calculate your score the same way. The 2 big ones, FICO, used in about 90% of lending decisions, and VantageScore, used by many free apps. They use the same underlying data, but they weigh factors differently. That's why you might see a 745 on your bank's FICO score and a 730 on Credit Karma's VantageScore. Neither is wrong. They're just different tools. Myth number 7. Using most of your limit builds credit. The reality behind this is high utilization is one of the fastest ways to sink your score. Credit scoring models reward low revolving utilization because it signals you're not overextended. Remember the general guidelines. Under 30% utilization is good, under 10% is excellent, and under 5% is elite. Even if you pay in full every month, if your balance is high on the day your issuer reports to the bureaus, your score can dip. That's why mid-cycle payments or multiple payments per month can help you. Myth number 8. Credit freezes hurt your score and they're not worth it. The reality behind this is credit freezes are free, they are safe, and they are score neutral. They simply block new accounts from being opened in your name unless you temporarily lift that freeze. With identity theft reports rising into the millions each year, freezes are one of the most effective tools that you have. They don't affect your existing accounts, they don't affect your score or your ability to use your cards. Myth number 9. All retailers accept any major card network. The reality is that card acceptance varies more than people realize. Costco is the perfect example. In-store, Visa only. Online, Visa plus MasterCard. This matters because your reward strategy should match where you shop. If your best earning card isn't accepted, you need a backup plan. Ideally, one that still earns strong rewards. Payment history is the single most important factor in your credit score, accounting for about 35% of your total score. Right behind that is utilization at 30%. Remember, together, these two factors make up roughly 65% of your score. If you pay on time and keep balances low, you're already doing the majority of what credit scoring models want to see. All right, friends, let's bring this episode home. And here's your action plan from today's episode. Check your score and reports. If you don't know already and you don't have an account, sign up for Experian, Credit Karma. Again, I don't get any benefit from those. I just want you to know what your credit score is, and they're free. Turn on alerts so you're aware of any major changes or any fraud. If you have higher utilization than 30%, focus on lowering your utilization. 30% or lower, 10% is excellent, and under that is elite. Set up auto pay so you don't carry high balances. Consider credit freezes. And then align your card strategy with the acceptance rules of where you shop. I really hope that you're still enjoying our podcast, and I hope that you're continuing to learn. And if so, please subscribe or share with a friend. I really think people can benefit from the miles and points game. Check the show notes for helpful resources. And if you do want to sign up for a card, you haven't done it yet, there should be a few links in the notes. I'd really appreciate it if you would use those. They help me continue to provide content as we build out our strong foundation in this space. So, until our next episode, let's keep going from clueless to confident together. We're going to keep earning, keep dreaming, and we're going to turn those points into possibilities. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.